What's going on? This is your man John Fortune, your host of the Frustrated Fan Sports Show. And in today's show, what was probably the greatest win for the Washington Ragin Tide? They knocked out the Philadelphia Eagles in a game that was practically handed to us by the Eagles due to the fact that they hated the Giants so much. I mean, you talking about a game in which Jalen Hurts was benched. He was killing us in this game. I mean, you talking about the 14 points that the Philadelphia Eagles scored was solely because of Jalen Hurts. There was one sequence where they threw 3 times, but they ran the whole time. They ran the ball each time, and like I said, Jalen Hurts practically killed us. And the crazy thing about that is, of those 3 passes, Jalen Hurts didn't throw one. So, I mean, this was one of the craziest games, but guess what? At the end of the day, I don't care. The Ragin Tide make the playoffs in what was possibly the craziest up and down season for not only fans, but maybe players and coaches as well. And the fact that they cap it off with making the playoffs is very, very big. I mean, especially when you think about Ron Rivera is in his first year as the head coach of this Washington team. Chase Young is in his rookie season as defensive end for this franchise. The guy is going to be rookie defensive player of the year. I mean, it's just going to happen. Montez Sweat, the fact that this guy picked it up big time this year. The defensive line still struggling a little bit, but was good enough to sit up there and become something. Next year, you're talking about Matt Ioannidis comes back. That is going to be huge. So again, I mean, just possibly one of the most exhilarating games we've seen this year from this franchise, because we've seen some terrible games. Alex Smith looks decent enough to not lose us a game. We may see Tyler in the playoffs, not really sure, because Alex still seems like he's kind of not all there. Threw 2 picks in this game. Could have been very dangerous for us in this game. But like I said again, Doug Peterson hated the Giants so much that he benches Jalen Hurts. I mean, my God. You talking about being a Philadelphia Eagles fan? I mean, hell, I should do a show just dedicated to them, because that was probably the biggest bonehead play if you were trying to win and say bump the Washington franchise opportunity to really make the playoffs. But to be quite honest, when they put the graphic up and they said that if the Eagles would have won, they would have been the 9th. They would have had the 9th overall selection. And if they lose, they get the 6th overall selection. I'm going to say this, and this is to all you Eagles fans. I would have did the exact same thing too. I mean, you're talking about the possibility. First off, you don't even know what your quarterback situation is next year. And the fact that you're talking about the possibility of being able to be high enough to take one of the top 3 quarterbacks in this draft, I probably would have did the same thing too. You're talking about your 1 pick right outside the top 5. So that means no matter what happens, whoever falls to you, should it be a quarterback? Hell, should it be a tight end? Should it be the offensive lineman? You're talking about Philadelphia has the possibility of getting one of the top picks. I would have lost the game too. So guess what? I mean, I get it. But the fact that it just seemed like Doug Peterson at the moment just hated the Giants so much. Almost like he was like, hold on there, Giants. We was just kidding around. We're bitching Jalen Hurts right now. And man, as much as I absolutely hate the Cowboys, I have to say, this one is just as sweet too. You know, the fact that we won to basically knock out our competition and make the playoffs with a losing record. Hey, as long as we make it, who cares that it was a losing record? We made it. So, NFC East champs, great thing, great feeling. Let's talk about it. Chase Young, Montez Sweat. These guys have stepped up all year, big time. In reality, Montez Sweat should have ended the season with 10 sacks. I think Chase Young is right behind him with maybe about 7.5, maybe 8, something like that. But he does what he does. He's the great disruptor. I mean, they call the man the Predator for a reason. And, I mean, he has shown that he's not a joke. He's serious about this game. He's serious about what he's going to be. He doesn't need motivation to do his job. Very, very good. Glad about that. Terry McLaurin, high ankle sprain. Didn't seem like it bothered him that much in this game. Seems like the guy knows exactly what he's doing. And, I mean, you're talking about this is our #1 receiver. We're doing well. Alex Smith, I mean, he's serviceable. But, you know, he does look like a guy that might be sitting up there just working on one leg. So, I mean, like I said, again, I'm not going to harp on the bad. I'm just going to harp on the fact that the Ragin Tide have made it. I mean, they've made the playoffs in what is possibly the biggest up and down season. I mean, you're talking about Ron Rivera announcing he has cancer. Jack Del Rio's defense looking a little outdated. Scott Turner looking like Ron Rivera just used nepotism to bring him in. The players not really seeming like they were on board. Dwayne Haskins and the on and off relationship with him to the end of releasing him. Just the off the field stuff with our owner. I mean, that has been this season has helped us not focus on that. I mean, to be quite honest, this season has focused us enough to not focus on the fact that the off-field stuff is happening with our owner. So, like I said, again, man, I mean, this is just one of those seasons where we have really, really, really done an amazing job. Like I said, kudos to Ron Rivera. I mean, I brutalized him. I sat up there and said maybe he's not really the coach for this team. You know, I mean, I really did. But, you know, the fact that he got this team to be resilient, the fact that he was able to find a way to get this team to really be something that we're not used to them being, and the fact that they're able to make the playoffs, that's huge. That is so, so huge. Could have been thrown away. Was almost thrown away. Alex Smith almost threw this game away for us. But you know what? Again, like I said, I'm not going to focus on the negative. Like I said, he's serviceable enough to make sure that we don't lose. But he is we got to make sure he's on the same page with all these guys, because, yeah, he definitely needs to make sure that he is in the game, because he does give us a good chance to win. But Taylor Heineke could definitely sit up there and help us out. Now, I'll say this. I'm going to talk about this a little bit. Taylor versus Tyler. We've always been taught that Taylor was the feminine version of the name Tyler or whatever, and Tyler was the masculine name. So that's why when we are confused about Taylor or Tyler, we're used to what was told was the male version of the name versus the female version of the name. So the fact that there's a guy named Taylor, a lot of us not used to it. So that's why we like Taylor, Tyler. You know, that's the thing there. But like I said again, I'm just pumped that we made the playoffs in what was such a very grueling season. Steven Sims muffed another punt, so we got to get that guy off punts. We got to get him off punts. I remember in my when I talked about us drafting a guy, the whole point was to get Steven Sims off of punts, and everybody's seeing the effects of him not needing to be on punts. We can't have that in the playoffs. We cannot have that in the playoffs. There are things that we cannot have in the playoffs. But like I said again, exhilarating win, exhilarating thing. I hope that, this continues into the playoffs. It would be nice to walk away with a playoff win. I mean, we haven't done it since Joe Gibbs. What was it? 05? That we walked away with a 05, I think it was, that we walked away with a playoff win. So, I mean, that could be very, very good for us. It really can be. And it would be nice to sit up there and actually see us actually play a little longer in the playoffs. I know a lot of y'all are not happy because it brings our draft number down. But I'd rather us go down because of the fact that there are a lot of decent players in this draft. There are not a lot of top players in this draft, but there are a lot of decent guys in this draft. And I think that even if we're picking very low, we're going to get a very good player. This may be the biggest collection. This may be the draft where you find more gems later than you're going to find early in rounds, because they got guys that are actually mocked high, and I don't think these guys should be mocked that high. But that's just my personal opinion. But back to the Ragin Tide. Great win. Just a very exhilarating win. One of the most exciting games I've seen from this team all year, especially coming off of 2 losses. So, again, like I said, man, I'm just glad that we made it. I'm glad that we're marching on, and I'm glad that we're going to see Tampa Bay. Yeah, I understand. We can't. That's the next thing. We're moving on. We're going into Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is going to be coming here. The benefit that we have is that Tom Brady is not mobile. Our defense can possibly disrupt that offense enough to win the game. The thing about it is that we got to make sure that the offense does not lose us this game. Alex Smith can't be throwing picks in this game, because we cannot afford to get into a shootout. Period. Not with Tom Brady. We can't afford it. They have enough offensive firepower to basically destroy us. So we can't let that happen. Another thing, our defense is stellar, especially that front four. If that front four gets all the pressure that they can on a non-mobile guy, we might be seeing a win. But again, that all hinges on the factor of Scott Turner understanding he has to sit up there and rein in the passing and run the ball a little bit more, which is what he did in this game. And at the same time, Jack Del Rio needs to release the dogs. He has to release these guys, because he has to come up with some exotic blitzing that's going to get Tom Brady's head on a swivel, because we can actually win a playoff game. I know it's kind of hard for a lot of people to believe this, but we can actually probably win one. Like I said, man, exciting win. Glad that they made the playoffs. Glad that we're drafting later. I didn't want to draft high, my personal opinion. But again, I'm just glad that we are marching on into the playoffs. Great win. Thank you, Doug Peterson. Thank you. Glad that you hated the Giants that much. Glad that you wanted that higher pick. Just glad about it. This has been your man, John Fortune. And this has been the Frustrated Fan Sports Show.